Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Tasmanian pharmacists are welcoming the slash in the cost of PBS medicine prices, saying it will stop patients from needing to make difficult choices. Federal Labor today talking up the measure, acknowledging they face other major challenges in 2023.
For Eastern Shore pharmacist Christina Fox, her community is her passion. In recent times, however, customers have been forced to make some hard-to-swallow decisions.
It's really difficult when a patient has to choose between two different medications and where we have to advise them on which one is the most important.
Spiralling cost of living pressures adding to the pain.
It's really an issue across the state, so it's not just for patients in my local community, but it's all over Australia.
Many families, they just haven't been able to afford to get all their scripts filled.
The federal government hoping they found the cure, slashing PBS script prices from $42.50 to $30.
If you get 2 scripts filled per month, you're looking at a saving of about $300 a year.
I think this will mean that patients will end up being more compliant with their medicines, hopefully reduce hospitalisations.
Labor, however, has more medicine to administer to other ill sectors. Tasmania's housing crisis is expected to be in the spotlight in 2023. The Housing Minister says all levels of government need to build the foundations.
We need all 3 tiers of government, local governments, state governments and federal governments working together.
A state government spokesperson says while their relationship with Minister Collins has started well, it's important Tasmania continues getting its fair share of support to address the lack of supply. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Wild weather has bucked the trend of recent summer conditions as thunderstorms lashed parts of the state this morning. The south not in the clear just yet, with emergency services issuing stern warnings to remain vigilant.
Rain, hail and winds battering northern Tasmania, with Devonport and Launceston copping a Bass Strait blast this morning. Around 20 millimetres of rain hit Mount Victoria, with storms tonight headed for Hobart.
Our messaging to the public was to prepare for an event of significance, and that's actually come to fruition today.
Emergency services ready and waiting, with high amounts of rainfall in a short amount of time, increasing the chances of flash flooding. Warnings currently in place for the south.
They're starting to get very well organised, so they're starting to get structure about them, which means they can be more severe. They are producing quite large hail, greater than 2 centimetre hail.
The taste of summer festival falling victim to a taste of winter. With 2,000 ticket holders notified this morning, the gates wouldn't open until 3 o'clock due to safety concerns.
The majority of the patrons are coming in the early afternoon into the evening as well, so I think there's no reason now that won't happen.
The SES is urging Tasmanians to be prepared for future weather events by securing loose items around the home, clearing gutters and always staying up to date with emergency warnings.
If you don't need to drive during such conditions, don't. Seek shelter in an appropriate place. Make good decisions on the road.
The most important warning, don't be complacent. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, the Hurricanes are hoping the rain stays away for their first game of 2023 tonight against the Adelaide Strikers. Crossing live to Tom Johnson at Blunston Arena. Good evening, Tom. There could be some big inclusions to the side tonight.
Good evening, Louise. Yes, Ben McDermott is back in the squad after a hamstring injury kept him out of the past 2 games. We could also see the debut of Fahim Ashraf, who is now available after finishing his national duties with Pakistan. He's essentially swapping places with New Zealander Jimmy Neesham, whose time with the Hurricanes is now over. Now, fingers crossed there will be cricket at all. The Weather Bureau is warning the rain could come right at the sweet spot when the game is about to begin just after 7. But of course, we'll have to wait and see. This is the Hurricanes' first night game in Hobart for this season, and there's some pressure on the side, which is currently sitting bottom of the table after that loss in Albury on New Year's Eve. Its starting 11 will be revealed in the next 20 minutes or so. I'll have that update later on in sport, coming to you tonight live from Blunston Arena. Louise.
Drivers who use Proctor's Road to avoid the southern outlet will need to make alternative plans from tomorrow. The road will be shut for a month between Baintree Avenue and the southern outlet to allow the City of Hobart to undertake upgrades. $850,000 will be spent on installing a new rock fence, improve guardrails and resurface it. Work is expected to be completed by February 6th. Tasmania's summer of sailing is continuing in the north as the National Sabo Championships return to Beauty Point for the first time in 5 years. The event attracts young sailors from across the country, giving children the opportunity to launch a love of the sport.
They may be young, but some of these miniature mariners already have years of experience under their belts. 12-year-old Alyssa got out on the water at the ripe old age of 5.
Over the years, I felt like I've sort of become one with my boat and the waves and the wind.
Port Dalrymple Yacht Club is playing host to more than 60 competitors for this year's National Sabo Championships.
When we've got really close competition, it's always really fun because one person could be just a little bit in front, or you could go a different way and you could get in front.
Ladder leader Lakin is the boat to beat. The young yachtsman has sailed through to multiple victories this week and his pride and joy.
That was my first boat I've ever got and I've stayed in it for all 6 years of Sabos.
Poker Face might just be Lakin's lucky charm. It's autographed by some of his Olympic sailing heroes. Cabo-class boats weigh just 23 kilos, making them perfect for pint-sized skippers.
To sail, they're quite an agile dinghy, so you know the kids have to learn all the normal sail trim and all the boat control and that sort of stuff.
But it's not all serious business, with competitors and their families encouraged to have some fun as well.
Sabos, we pride ourselves on that family sort of involvement. The parents probably have as much fun as the kids at some point.
With big dreams for big races.
Do you reckon one day you'll be in the Sydney Hobart?
Hopefully.
Competition wraps up tomorrow. Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's surf lifesavers are urging caution to Tasmanians on our waterways in the wake of 2 deaths in the past week. Swimmers are being encouraged to stop, look for dangers and plan the safest way to enjoy the water this summer.
We would really like to ask the public whether they're rock fishing, they're on any kind of kayak, paddlecraft, whenever they're underwater, please wear a life jacket. It could be the difference between life and death, quite literally.
The organisation has been called to 33 rescues since the beginning of last month.
Good evening from Blunston Arena, where the Hobart Hurricanes are looking to get back on the winners list tonight against the Adelaide Strikers. The starting 11 was revealed a short time ago. Ben McDermott is back playing tonight. Pakistan's Fahim Ashraf will make his debut, but Shadab Khan is out with a finger injury. The Hurricanes, they will bowl first tonight. The game is slated to start at 7:15, but we need to wait and see how the weather holds up. It is starting to clear a little bit, luckily. Live coverage of the game is straight after the news. In the WNCL, Tasmania has flown out for a crunch doubleheader against the ladder-leading Queensland Bulls. The Tigers sit 4th on the table and coming off 2 wins against New South Wales just before Christmas. In a boost, Heather Graham and Nicola Carey will return after completing their national commitments. The 2 matches will take place on Wednesday and Friday at Allan Border Field. Jack Jumpers coach Scott Roth is hoping to regroup and refresh this week after their busy festive period. Yesterday's 99-74 win over the Phoenix was their 3rd game inside 6 days. Roth praising his players for bouncing back from their loss to Sydney within 48 hours.
Travel day obviously to get back, but more importantly not a lot of prep time for them, and so just a really good job of our guys just getting refocused and getting back to some of the things that we continue to harp on.
The team is back on court this Saturday at home against Melbourne United.
Good evening. Some wild weather across the state today, with more likely on the way tonight. Ouse was the state's top at 32, 28 in Launceston, Devonport 24, and Hobart and Burnie both reached 23. 28 at Friendly Beaches, Luncheon Hill 26, Maria Island and Lioini both reached 23, and a top of 19 for Strawn. Large storm cells passed over the northeast and the lower east today, with high-level clouds streaming to the east, while it remained partly cloudy elsewhere. Further out, thunderstorms also lie over parts of the eastern and central parts of Australia, and a cloud band also extends over parts of Victoria and New South Wales. Tomorrow, a high off Perth will extend to a weak ridge along the entire southern coast of the country, with a trough also extending over the northern western WA coast down to Victoria's far east. South to southwesterly winds reaching up to 30 knots in the southeast in the morning and up to 20 and 25 elsewhere. And as we heard earlier tonight, wild weather is continuing to impact parts of the state, with a severe thunderstorm warning issued for the East Coast, Midlands and South East. And there's a strong wind warning for the South East Coast tomorrow. Cloudy in Hobart tomorrow, some cloud cover also for Adventure Bay, 19 there, and a shower or two for Tarraleah. A possible shower for Launceston and Bridport, and showers and 20 in Devonport. Burnie 17, 19 in Strawn and cloudy in Marrawar. St Helens 18, a possible morning shower for Swansea and a top of 20 for Whitemark with a shower or two. And tomorrow's UV sits at a very high 10. Showers about the north on Wednesday with possible light showers for other regions. More showers for the north on Thursday, mainly fine elsewhere. And Friday, showers for the north and the east, fine elsewhere. Showers in Cairns and Darwin tomorrow, Sydney 29, an early shower or two for Melbourne and 36 in Perth. And mostly cloudy conditions across the state right now, Launceston 23 and 22 in Devonport. So Lou, it appears we may not be out of the woods just yet, with more wild weather on its way, and that's followed by a cooler day across the state tomorrow.
I can't believe how that temperature's dropped. We had it good for a few days. Thank you for that, Victoria. That's all your news for now. Thank you for joining us. Good night.